Well, this is a really exciting day for me. I'm getting a lot of beds cleared and replanted, and I'm also topping the beetroot, the main beetroot beds, taking all the leaves off and seeing what lies beneath, which is always a delight. Well, it should be if everything has gone to plan. And doing the same with the carrots as well, taking all the top growth off the carrots, so I can see how many carrots I've got, and it allows me then to plan all the way through winter, so I know exactly how much to harvest each week. I don't get any nasty surprises, and it allows me to see if there's any damage from slugs and snails and things like that, and also to eliminate any slugs and snails, because there's bound to be lots in the beds. I can't see them because they're all covered by nets, they're all covered by loads of top growth, and once all that top growth is gone and the beds are all weeded, I can see exactly what I've got, and as I say, I can remove the slugs and snails, and it gives me a much more reliable harvest than if I left them with all that top growth on, which basically starts to die back. You get a big soggy matted mess of top growth under which all those slugs and snails are chewing away at the carrots, and at the beetroot, to be honest. Right, so I'll take you with me so far as I can. I'm a bit tired and weary today, full of cold, but I'll just potter on nice and slow. But let's go. So the first job of the day is to go through this bed, clear out any good leaves, lettuce leaves, and then take out all these lettuces that have gone to seed. So this bed is going to be spinach next week, and the plants are looking quite nice. I've just got to get this closed. It's full of baby Asian greens, and I'm going to be mulching this bed with spent mushroom compost, but there's still a few leaves on here which are quite nice, so I don't want to waste them. So we have lots of people who will take our spare veggies. Well, that didn't take very long. There's a few cutworms I can see, so I'll have to ruffle this bed up a little bit with my fingers, just like this, just trying to bring them to the surface and get rid of them. But they're a bit slow moving at this time of year, so not too much of an issue, but there's a few. I don't really want them in the beds. Not many weeds. This bed was strawberries, actually. It's been strawberries for a long time, so I decided now was the time to put it to a different use, because the actual strawberry harvest was a little bit lacklustre this year. I think after about 4 or 5 years it's basically time to move on, and so that was lettuce. I say now it's going to be spinach next week, and then I'll put a cold frame top on. In fact, I might put a cold frame top on today if I get round to it. I'm going to put a new mulch on it as well of spent mushroom compost, just because it's been, as I say, a strawberry bed. It's not had a lot of feed, it's not had a lot of compost, so it needs a bit of TLC just to get it back into full production. So I got a really nice harvest of lettuces, enough for a couple of salad bags, which will be very much appreciated by the girls at Caffè Nero, baristas at Caffè Nero. So it's always nice to give them a bit of a treat. They work very hard for little reward, so I try to give them a few bags of veggies when I can. Oh, that's looking so lovely. Can't wait to get that planted. So next up, I'm just taking this beetroot out, and some of it is albina, white beetroot, which we kind of eat as an alternative to turnips in winter, and some of them are pretty big, but we just chop these up actually into quarters, and that's about enough for somebody for a week. So the big ones are fine, and as I say, they're still lovely and tender. The size doesn't really make much of a difference, really, to how tender a beetroot is. It's the age that matters. And these are Pablo, probably. Again, good size. A few really big giant ones, but most of them are fine. Well, there's nothing wrong with the giant ones either, but sometimes it's just slightly more convenient to have smaller ones. So the smallish ones I am going to box up and put into store, because we've got loads to eat fresh at the moment, and this sort of size is just perfect for storage. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So I've got all my beetroot here, I've got my compost bin here. So all I'm doing is twisting off the lower leaves like that, and then with a little soft brush here I'm cleaning off as much soil as I can without doing any damage, and then I'm putting it in here, and then I'll grade them a bit later. So twist, brush, and then I'll grade. So that's the beetroot bed cleared, and you can see the beetroot that I've got up there now. And as I say, just need to grade those, and I just store them in damp wood chip. And I've got a video which I'll link in the description below that shows exactly how I do that. And you could also just read my beetroot growing guide if you want, which I'll also link down below. So mushroom compost again, going on this bed, because I always try and mulch with mushroom compost when the bed is ultimately going to be a brassica bed. And it's not, in theory at least, it's not ideal for garlic, which is what this is going to grow over winter and into spring, but it always seems to work out with mine. So there's that really nice garlic out of these beds. So that's looking really nice. Looking forward to getting the garlic in there maybe tomorrow. I always put a paving slab in just so that I can put my foot on there when I'm weeding. I can get access then to the whole of the bed. So now I'm onto this carrot bed, and as I say, all I'm doing is snipping all the top growth off the carrots, and obviously that's a quick and easy job, and the result is great, you know, because you get to see what you've got, and that is very useful as you're going into winter and you're trying to plan how much to harvest. Since nothing is growing now, basically everything that most of what you're eating apart from leafy greens has already grown. It's done all the growing it's going to do. These carrots aren't going to put in any more growth at this time of year, not in this part of the country at least. Root growth really doesn't happen. Leaf growth happens, and one of the nice things is these carrots will all regrow these leaves as well, and you get lovely fresh carrot leaves which you can eat. We don't actually, but you know, they look nice. So there we go, that's all sorted. Just need to weed this really, but I could really do that another day. Yeah, so it's a bit dry, need to give it a bit of water. It's not going to get any water now from the rain, although I could just open this up if it rained, if I wanted to. It's a bit shallow for spinach. I could really do with raising it up 6 inches, and I probably will do that, but not today. So next on my list is to work my way through this beetroot bed, clearing all the tops off, just like I did the carrots. I've had nets on this bed because of beetleaf miner, which is a real issue here. And I'm pleased I'm giving this a good look, because it's not been a great year for beetroot unless you gave it a lot of water. Because we're on sandy soil here, even though beetroot is quite deep rooted, it's basically rooting down into dry sand in summer, so you do have to water it. If you're on clay or something like that, it'd be fine, or if you're on silty loam or something, but sand just really doesn't retain any water. So I gave it as much water as I could, realistically do, which wasn't much. And there's quite a bit of slug damage, but I've got a lot of beetroot here, so I think I'll be alright. But it is definitely worth going to the trouble now of cutting all this off, because if I hadn't done and kind of just assumed that everything was fine and that I'd got a huge crop, then I could easily run out. So at first sight that doesn't look too bad. Enough beetroot there to see us through winter and into spring. But zoom in a bit. Let's see if I can find one. There's an example. There's a few like that. There's another one there. And so I'm going to go through the bed now, take out anything that's not kind of perfect. We'll use those imperfect ones over the next week or so. And it doesn't look too bad. I'll drop a few slug pellets in there and take out any tiny ones, because they're not going to do anything now. And as I said, now I know what I've got. So it makes a big difference. Even these big ones, we've got some quite big ones in there. These are absolutely fine. In fact, they're perfect really for winter. So now we're going to do the next bed along. These are all goldens. There's a few goldens in this one, but then there's mostly reds. And let's see. Oh, there's a white as well. So obviously a few different options here. So the reason I do this, as I probably already mentioned, is it allows me to estimate how much I've got, and it allows me to clear the bed of all this leaf cover, which hides problems. It hides slugs and snails and rotting beetroot, and it allows me to cover the beds with a coal frame, and that means I get a nice early start with the replacement crop in March, whereas otherwise I'd be waiting until May. So it just has a few benefits for me. I mean, it's not a huge benefit. The other thing is it allows me to keep the beetroot in the ground, and I like doing that. I used to always harvest it and store it in wood chip. I still do that for a few beetroot, but for the vast majority that we're going to eat through autumn and spring, so autumn, winter and spring, we'll eat them straight from the ground. And then just for the last few that we're eating in mid-spring, we'll use our stored ones for that, because we won't have replacement ones until sometime in May. So finally, I get to clear this last carrot bed, and I'm pleased I am doing it actually, because I noticed that the bed that I just cleared earlier of carrots, that had quite a lot of slugs in it. So I'm expecting that this one's similar, and this is one of the main objectives, obviously, is to get rid of slugs and weeds, and actually quite a few caterpillars. I don't know how they get in to these nets, but they do. They always get through the nets somehow. I guess they're probably in the soil already. So removing these covers was a nice quick job. What I'm doing this year actually with the covers is I'm keeping them as a set. So I'm keeping all the canes and everything together, because they're all cut to length for this particular bed. And in the past I've just put them back into my sort of normal store, and then I've had to sort of sort through and find everything at the right lengths, and this time I won't have to. So I'm doing that for all of my bed sizes. And as I'm sort of taking this out, I found a few slugs and snails, but there's very little actual damage to the necks, the shoulders rather, of the carrots. They're all looking really quite clean, and the sizes are looking excellent. Just the right size for me. I don't really like huge carrots, so yeah, looking good. And as I'm looking at this bed, I'm thinking, what can I use this for now? With all this space down the middle, I've got loads of spare lettuces, so I think I'm going to pop the spare lettuces in the middle of these, and I think there's a chance, a fairly good chance actually, that they'll grow to a decent size. And before these kind of carrots sort of take over again and start growing all new leaves, I could of course keep trimming the carrots again and again and again, which I probably will end up doing if I get a chance, but it's all time. But I think I can get a lettuce harvest out of here. So I hope you like this quick video. My name is Steve, this is the Outgrow channel. I'll see you soon.